So I can tell that I'm gonna struggle on roll call votes.
Yeah.
Because of the split screen and the camera, so I'll need some support. So it's better like this. Okay, so it's just Forrest and Shanta and the three of us. Okay, I think if I miss anybody, excuse, pardon me, but we'll get this figured out. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Sullivan. I'll call the Affordable Housing Trust meeting of Tuesday, August 19th. 2025 to order. This is a hybrid meeting. All votes will be taken by roll call. We have a few members present and digitally. Let's check microphones for Forrest Bell.
Here.
Great, thank you, Forrest. Shanta Murphy.
Here.
Great, thank you. And staff, we have Tracy McDonald online.
Here.
Great, thanks, Tracy. Present at the meeting, we have Mary Mack and Penny Dye.
Here.
Great. Staff, is there any adjustments to the agenda, additions, changes?
I said you're on a last update with just adding Rick's name to the open session minutes, which I added in the printed document, but nothing substantive.
Okay, so with that, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great, thank you. Motion from Penny, second from Mary, by roll call. Penny Dye, Mary Mack,
Aye.
Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Shanta Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Item number 3 on the agenda, public comments. Are there any members of the public that would like to make comments or members of the board? Seeing no action, I'll close public comment. We have an approval of the minutes for August 12th meeting. Are there any comments, additions, changes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda or the minutes of August 12th?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Mary, is there a second? Second from Penny by roll call. Mary Mack,
Aye.
Penny Dye, Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Shanta Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Item 5, we have announcements. I will kick to. Oh, great.
Oh, Brooke just joined.
Hi, Brooke, welcome. Who wants to take on announcements? No announcements? Okay. I'll make an announcement that Governor Healy is on island and going to visit the Wiggles Way project today, which is very exciting. So hopefully if the meeting ends quickly enough that we will be able to attend. It's happening between 2 and 2:30.
Oh, so we could still maybe attend.
Depends on how chatty we get today. I think you're good.
Security.
I think you're good.
I don't think people who weren't given an invitation are allowed to come. I'm sorry. That's the invitation I got is that it's not open to anyone who was not directly invited. So
we got invited and then told them that we could not attend, Brooke, because of this meeting.
oh, you were invited. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, we'll exciting that Governor Healy's here seeing some of our successes. So that's my only announcement. With that, we'll close announcements and move to item 6, elections of officers. Discussion and action. Do we take these independently?
So we can start with chair.
Okay, so we are looking to elect a new chair, a chair. I will leave my hat in the ring if anybody wants it.
I'll make a motion that we nominate Brian Sullivan as chair for a 1-year term.
Forrest has his hand raised.
Forrest Bell?
I just had one quick question before we do the nominations. Brian, you just said you want to leave your hat in the ring, but I want to make sure if I nominate Penny as vice chair, that Penny would still like to do it. I wouldn't want to put someone on the spot.
Well done. Yeah, I would be willing to serve as vice chair as long as I am able to stay on this board. So I would be willing to serve for a 1-year term, providing there's no conflict that requires that I get off this board.
Okay, so Forrest hasn't answered a question. Penny made a motion.
Yeah.
Any discussion on Penny's motion or,
Maybe a second.
or any additional nominations?
Yeah, does anybody else want to serve? That's really the question.
Brooke?
Oh, I want to serve. No, Brian, I would second the nomination of Brian Sullivan to remain chair.
Okay, and I think Mary, did you have a comment? You said something.
I just seconded it.
Okay, so, motion from Penny, seconded from Mary and Brooke, a vote by roll call, Penny Dye. Mary Mac,
Aye.
Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Brooke Moore. You're on mute, Brooke.
Sorry, aye.
Chantal Murphy.
Aye.
And I will recuse. Thank you all for the support. I appreciate that. So we'll take on item or letter B, Vice Chair. Forrest, do you have any comments?
I do. I would like to officially nominate Penny Dye for vice chair.
Any discussion? I'm gonna second the motion. A vote by roll call, Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy,
Aye.
Mary Mac,
Aye.
Brian Sullivan's an aye, Penny Dye. Great. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Appreciated, and let's keep moving. Item 7, presentation of the summer projects by the real estate and housing interns. The floor is yours.
Perfect. Hello, I'm William Wrightson. I'm the housing department and real estate office intern for the summer. Slide. So we'll talk about some of my major projects for the summer. So the two biggest projects were my proposed legislation review and my town of Nantucket employee housing analysis. So the proposed legislation review, so I started out by using the MA legislation.gov website, and I used the search term affordable housing, which returned 173 matches. And then I basically used several different kind of methods to cull out irrelevant bills. So just starting from the titles and descriptions, I cut nearly half of the bills from the 173 to 90, then using Claude AI summaries and reading those. Some of them really didn't relate very strongly to affordable housing, so cut nearly another half of the remaining. And then from sort of reading, annotating, researching the existing legislation, I cut it down to about 30 remaining bills, which I've now been writing some advocacy letters for. So we can go to the next slide. This is actually pretty hard to see, but you can see it if you look at the online packet. But this is just kind of what part of the spreadsheet looks like. It basically has all of the information tabulated there. The AI summary of existing legislation, sort of my personal take on how the legislation relates to Nantucket housing, and some other information in there too. So now I'm drafting the advocacy letters, and there's an example on the next slide of what that looks like. So this is one advocacy letter on the Housing Bill 3903, which is the Nantucket specific transfer fee legislation. So that is what, an example of what a housing letter might look like. And I've been writing many of these on different topics in the last few weeks. So my second project is essentially to tabulate and analyze income ranges for existing vacant town positions. So as this relates to housing, the idea of this is to, from hourly wages, when they don't give you a salary, figure out how much vacant positions would be making if the position were filled. And then from the sort of rule of thumb percentage of income going to housing for it to be affordable, you can figure out the annual rent that would allow that person to live affordably, and then the monthly rent. You can back solve from there to understand, okay, this is the housing we have, this is what we might want to have in the future to sort of allow people filling these vacancies to live affordably. and next slide here. And then the other part of this is looking a little bit into the potential people qualifying for retirement to potentially understand when housing stock might be returned to the town to lease, maybe to people filling vacant positions. But this is obviously highly speculative. People can qualify for retirement and continue working, and so much more speculative part, but still valuable information there. And then a number of smaller projects also completed. So those include analyzing the room occupancy tax, drafting the CPC report presentation for Christie, annotating and summarizing the Senate Bill 1434 for testimony a few weeks ago, and then tabulating the lease to locals, price per square foot, rental values, where that information's publicly available in the GIS. Obviously, when it's a room in someone's house, I don't have the dimensions of that, so it's a little bit, can't calculate that, but, and then some tasks for the real estate office as well. Primarily were involved with, encroachment review, tabulation, and then enforcement, which was very interesting. And yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody. This has been a great opportunity. I've learned a lot, had a good time. So thank you, everybody, for providing the opportunity there. Happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I just have a quick one, which is when you talk about encroachments, what would be some examples of?
So one would, well, I don't think we can quite go into all of the details at this time, but maybe at some point in the future.
Okay,
But there are several that, yeah.
okay. Thanks.
Well, first off, thank you. That was a ton of work. Super exciting. How, when you do leave, when's your
So I
departure?
still have 3 more, this week and 2 more weeks after, so I have about 70% done roughly.
When you do leave, how can we continue your work on the advocacy letters? Like, do you have a game plan to turn that over to us? So, because
Yeah.
you've obviously made incredible progress. How do we and pass it out to the community to support that?
So that's something I think probably still exploring, but advocacy letters obviously I've written will be, Dylan and Christie will have those, and they can figure out whether they want to put them on the website or, how they want to distribute those.
Right.
The ones that have still been left to be written, I think I'll probably get done with all of the 30. But then if there are more, if you want to sort of then take a step back and, okay, what are some of the ones that maybe I cut out that you guys do think are relevant that, a judgment call or whatever. I still have this sort of broader tables, spreadsheets that have, so I have the one that has 173, I have the one that has the 90 bills, I have the one that has the 50. So you can, Christie and Dylan can look at those and see, okay, well, these are the ones he wrote, but let's see what else is there that you might want to write about.
Great.
So
Great. Well, nice work.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hand it over to Tom.
So, good afternoon, members of the Affordable Housing Trust. My name is Tom Broadus. I am a rising second-year law student at Boston University School of Law, and I've had the privilege of serving as an intern for the Real Estate Office and Housing Department over the past 2 months. So my role for the town was to support both offices in any capacity I can. And we'll go to the next slide. I've outlined a non-exhaustive list of the various tasks I've had over the past 2 months. It includes researching encroachment laws. That's something I did for the real estate office. Drafting a handout that discusses options for Nantucket landowners interested in using their land for affordable housing. Researching and summarizing tax programs relevant to affordable housing. Gathering data from Massachusetts land records for smaller projects. Researching possible zoning reforms, and attending meetings and drafting minutes. So the first project I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about is the Affordable Housing Preservation Options Handout, which is currently still in its draft stage, but I'm really excited about it as a project. I created a document inspired by / based on a document called Affordable Housing Preservation Options for Martha's Vineyard. And basically, I explained the various ways Nantucket homeowners can use their property to contribute to the town's efforts to create affordable and year-round housing. These can be temporary, like lease to locals. These can be more permanent, like willing property to the housing trust or to the town. And these could also be more general, like I said, willing property to the town or to our housing trust can be done essentially anywhere, or more Nantucket specific programs like Lease to Locals or the upcoming pilot program for the year-round deed restriction. And the goal is to ultimately have a one-page double-sided document that may not explain the entirety of all the programs, but gives a broad overview and a brief introduction to the programs, and encourages them to reach out to the housing department to get a more personalized assessment of what individuals can do to help us with affordable housing. I also worked on a summary of 5 tax exemption programs available in Massachusetts, each of which are designed either to promote affordable housing or workforce development. These programs took the form of either tax increment financing or a special tax assignment. Then once I finished the research on that, I prepared an internal summary outlining the description and application of each of these 5 tax assessments. As you all can imagine, in the real estate office and the housing department as well, I spent a lot of time on masslandrecords.com. So one of the first things I did when I got here is I was taught how to pull deeds, mortgages, and other relevant property documents from masslandrecords.com. And then I spent the rest of the summer using these skills to gather data for projects for both the real estate office and the housing department, which I then organized that data into spreadsheets for use by the staff of the real estate office and the housing department. My current project, and I'm going to get as far in this as I can before I unfortunately leave on Friday, is to research what, if any, zoning reforms the town could enact that would help create affordable and year-round housing. So I started by researching and familiarizing myself with the current zoning bylaws before researching and familiarizing myself with what zoning reforms are traditionally considered to be beneficial for affordable and year-round housing. And now I'm at the stage of analyzing what zoning reforms, A, haven't already been enacted by the town, and B, could be added to the town's zoning bylaws to benefit our endeavor to create more affordable housing. And before I take any questions, I wanted to thank the trust and the town. It has been a fantastic internship. I've learned so much about how municipalities worked, found a lot of cool quirks about Nantucket property law that I really enjoyed learning about. And it was really meaningful for me to spend the summer doing, in my small part, contributing to creating more affordable housing and year-round housing on Nantucket. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Hey, Tom.
Thank you. Go ahead,
I
Penny.
just want to thank the two of you. I feel too that we benefit from an objective point of view. As those of us that have been in this work for a while tend to not look at things objectively. So I'm sure you brought some of that with you, and I hope you had nothing to do with his arm.
That was not one of my key tasks.
I didn't realize this before the presentation, but we're gonna be devastated when you leave.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have been doing incredible work. Thank you. Like, please,
So the
if
doors
there's
to-
any, I was gonna say, if there's any consideration for next year, please make sure you let us know.
Absolutely.
And best wishes of success as you move on. You clearly don't need best wishes, like, success will come, but well done.
I think a few folks have their hands raised, stop sharing.
Okay, great. Brooke?
I just want to say there was a time where I thought I was one of the people on Nantucket who knew the most about affordable housing and what we're doing. And I am so far behind now. I cannot believe how far we've come. And I'm happy to have all of these smart, dedicated people, including our summer interns, really moving this whole effort forward. It's remarkable, and thank you for spending your summer with us.
Here. Thank you, Brooke. Tracy? Tracy, we can't hear you. You've got a mic issue. Nope. Oh, we heard something. Now it's muted.
Right, how about now? Can you hear me?
Now we got you.
All right, I'm gonna shout because it's my internet. I just wanted to say that we had 3 interns. We also had a gentleman by the name of Chase Windish, who his last day was last Friday. We were so lucky to have 3 really great interns. These are really very, very smart, very quick on their feet, very quick to learn guys. And I particularly love the role of mentoring. I have mentored people in my career when I worked at the law firm, and it was a really enjoyable experience for me as well. And they really did do a lot. I think you could see they did a lot of work that we probably would not have got done otherwise. So it really was a great experience, and would love if they come back. But they are all education, but I would be happy to have any of the 3 of them or all of the 3 of them back again.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy.
And thank you guys. It's been a wonderful summer, and every project that when Dylan started, I was like, oh, we should do this sometime. We should do this sometime. I think you guys finished in the first 2 weeks. And so we just kept throwing more projects their way, and they just kept, piling away at them. And it's amazing to get some of the stuff that we've been wanting to work on cleared and answers to a lot of the questions we have.
I know we have a lot of stuff to get to, but I don't want to be the only one to not say that. That guy's in the office, we push me in good, challenging ways. Hope to keep the work on.
Okay, so we'll close item 7 and thank and congratulate our guys, and we'll move on to item 8. 31 Fairgrounds Road, Wiggles Way financial audit and discussion. And I think I'm gonna open to Christy and then pass to Brian.
Yes, so Brian Turbot should be joining us online. And he's here. So this was a request during the construction phase of Wiggles Way. There was a request and from both the trust and the community for an internal audit of all of the accounting. And we wanted to wait until the construction was fully complete. And so tenants moved in April and May, but there was still some finalizing in terms of road work. And we wanted kind of every last bill to be submitted and paid before we reached out to an audit firm. So Brian Turbot was going to walk us through the proposal. I don't see him.
Sure. Hi, Christy. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. So we searched high and low to find an audit firm that had the time and the desire or interest to do this. We found one that we've worked with one of the partners in various capacities before. They've gone through a couple mergers, but it's CBIZ is the accounting firm. I had a brief conversation with them, kind of outlined what we were looking for, and what some of the, I think, concerns that we had expressed when we received some of the information as we went through the process in the building and the development and construction of the project. They put together a proposal. I'm going to just kind of go through their methodology and some of the things we highlighted, but obviously they're going to do a review of all the agreements, contracts, amendments between Housing Nantucket, the town, the developer, and other related entities. They are going to want to see essentially all of the invoices and the payment records, and paying special attention. One of the things that caught my eye, I think I actually probably have expressed this before, is the substantial, roughly almost 10% of the cost of this project to related party transactions with the developer. They are going to look and review the effectiveness of the oversight by Housing Nantucket and their OPM on the project. This is another issue that we asked for a little bit of a kind of a focus on. They're going to look for a verification of compliance. We were tax exempt, and I believe we were paying taxes or Housing Nantucket was ultimately paying taxes that the town was reimbursing that likely should have been paid if they had taken the steps to get tax exempt accounts at various entities that they purchase things from. And then they're gonna do a complete reconstruction of the budget and the timeline and try to help us understand do an analysis of the cost overruns and where they think the pinch points were and where they think collectively things could have been managed a little bit better. And after they're done all of that, which will take a little while, I'm sure, they're gonna provide to the trust as we move down this process with other substantially sized and scoped projects, some recommendations on how we can improve, how the overall process as a whole can improve. It'll prepare a comprehensive after action report detailing findings, any root causes of the issues, actionable recommendations for us to implement on a go forward basis. And so they believe that they can finish this in approximately 11 weeks. 1 week to plan, 6 to 8 weeks of field work, provided we can upload that to a Dropbox for them to do so that they don't have to be here during, shoulder season, and 1 week to prepare a report and then present that to you. They have an estimate, and it's actually a little bit better than I thought it was going to be, given the scope of what we're asking them to do. The estimate on the low end is 65,000, with the high end being 85,000. And having gone through this, or talking to our accountants, they can't do it because there's an independence issue. We don't want to create an independence issue for our current audit firm. So, but they don't think that it's unreasonable with the amount of work that we're asking to be done, and the compressed time frame to get it all done. So we are hoping that you will concur that this needs to be done and that we should undertake it, and then we will get a contract drafted and then have them come to a meeting to discuss the scope with you, so that if you would like to have any areas or things that you would like to see, we can make sure to include it in the beginning in the planning phase.
Great, thank you, Brian. Penny?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Brian, a couple of questions, Brian. Or a statement and then some questions quickly. I would hope that that Steve Hollister would be involved in this. The trust, of course, has paid him to provide some oversight on this. I would also hope that the builder, not the developer, Housing Nantucket was the developer, Billy Cassidy, the builder, will be involved in this as well. Okay.
Everyone will be. So when they do a review of the oversight from being, Housing Nantucket, it'll include the oversight by the OPM in reviewing invoices, doing all of that, and it will require substantial documentation from the builder if Housing Nantucket doesn't have it.
Okay.
We've been very clear, I think, to continue further respond to the question, Penny, we've been very clear with everybody that we are going to need to see all of the invoices, regardless of what entity has them or had them.
Yes, which is great. And I look forward to getting this done. And when would they be able to commence? There's another question.
So if the trust were to vote favorably to move forward, we would draft the contract, send it to the senior partner on it, and then hopefully we could have that done by the end of the week. If they execute it, we can get it executed, because it does not have to go through the select board since it's an expenditure less than 100,000. So I'm gone next week, so my guess would be planning phase would be the week, probably the week of right after the Labor Day holiday, likely. I mean, I don't have to be involved in planning. I know Christy may want me to be there just because of the accounting background for this and how this should be done, but they could meet with everybody next week if we can get the contract pulled off by the end of the week.
Two other quick comments. One is that we need to give people heads up, those that will be heavily involved in this, so that they can plan accordingly with their schedules. And then lastly, who's paying for this audit?
We are.
The trust is paying for the audit.
That's the request, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to be clear on that.
Yep. My only thought comment is, I'm all for the audit, but I'm excited for the result of it. It seems like a good investment into future projects in creating guidelines, outlines, and what has to happen next. At first reaction, I have no experience with the cost of something like this, so I defer to the finance director. But it sounds like a little bit of money as we're looking at bigger and different and future projects and creating pathways to more efficiency. So thank you for up to where we are. Hang on one second, Penny, I'm gonna go to Brooke. Brooke, did you put your hand up and then down?
No, I just want to reiterate what you said, that to prepare a best practices going forward is going to be incredibly valuable as we do, more projects down the road. So, and we already have some in the pipeline that we want to make sure we're doing this, with best
So-
practices. So,
I think that becomes an important part of the process for them, the recommendations report moving forward. Penny?
Just lastly, the trust funded this in a combination of.
This
grants-
being Wiggles Way.
Wiggles Way in a combination of grants and loans. The trust was not the developer.
Mhm.
Trust is not the owner. And I don't really think it's right that I'm not gonna make a big issue out of this, but I want it on the record. I don't think it's right that the trust is paying entirely for this audit. Trust did not get us into this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Could I make a suggestion with that, Mr. Chair, through you?
Please.
I think with the scope of the couple projects that are coming down, getting this started, at least as we negotiate, is a good idea. So my hope would be that the trust would vote favorably to do this, and then secondarily, we should have conversations with the developer on them contributing or offsetting some of the costs. But I think if we wait and have those conversations, and it's just going to delay this, and I would like to, if there's actionable items out of this that we can implement in the other projects that we're working towards, then I think that's beneficial in the long run for the trust as well. I would also just make one note that this was kind of a very distinct and different project than the trust is doing now, where it's all parcels that we own and where we don't have a developer in between. The only one I think maybe Sparks might be similar, but the other large one that's coming is all owned by town, is all town-owned land. So our level of absolute oversight will be probably a lot greater in that one. But I think it's worthwhile to start it now to get some feedback and some recommendations that we can implement going forward as we continue to invest in projects that are beneficial.
Brian, one last question that jumped in. Is there any role for Hilltop to be involved in this process as we're developing future plans for guidelines and other projects?
Sure, that's a great question, Mr. Chair, and I'm pretty sure that we probably would have the members and the individuals on the CBIZ team that are working on it probably not only talk to them, but to bond counsel too, because if you remember, this was the first project where we kind of learned of the collars and the guardrails on the borrowing for a public purpose and how to analyze it and determine it. So I think we would include a request that they talk to them about how they view it, and Hilltop, especially, I think, the Hilltop's housing group would probably be a good place for them to have conversations as well on what they're doing, so that they can kind of get a fulsome picture of how there have been some changes and everything, so they understand what's going on. So yes, I would expect that they would be.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve. How do you want me to word it?
I think it's probably approved.
Hire the audit firm
Engage
CBIZ.
the audit firm for 31 Fairgrounds Road, that we approve up to $85,000 to pay for that. With the understanding that there will be future discussions about engaging the developer and helping Housing Nantucket and helping defray that cost.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Forrest and Mary in unison. I appreciate that. So we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, take a vote by roll call. Penny Dye,
Aye.
Mary Mack,
Aye.
Forrest Bell,
Aye.
Brooke Moore,
aye.
Sean Tom Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Sullivan's an aye. Great. Thank you, everybody. That's a 9, right? Item 9, staff update.
Okay, so in your packet is the staff update. I just wanted to have this on the agenda if there's any questions.
Excuse me one second. Brian, thank you very much. I don't know if you're sticking around or not,
Yes,
but I just
stick
want.
around.
Okay, great.
I think I have to stick around, right?
Great.
Okay.
But I think one of the biggest updates that I just wanted to announce was Tacoma Green, has made a significant, progression in their timeline. They received their environmental clearance from the US Fish and Wildlife. And so we are meeting, every other Monday with the whole team of closing, members from Mass Housing to EOHLC, their lenders, everybody in the town. Vicky Marsh joins us. So we are aiming for an October 15th closing, and they're hoping to break ground on December 1st. So that's a big project, a big lift, that we're seeing move forward.
Penny?
Yeah, I can't click and raise my hand.
Yeah, it's great.
In there. Just, before we leave that subject, at what point, if you could refresh our memories, at what point do those units start counting towards the SHI list?
So when they pull, they're doing a 2-phase development. So the first phase, they'll pull 31 building permits, and those will go on the SHI list. And then when they do phase 2 and pull those building permits, they'll go. So they'll be pulling their permits between October 15th and December 1st is the goal.
So is it accurate to say that those 32 will count towards 2026?
It'll be 2025.
2025?
It's in the calendar year that they count.
Okay, and then the next would be 2026?
Correct.
And that gets us almost to what we need to do annually.
Yes, and so with Meadows 1 and Habitat for Humanity with this phase 1, we would get 2 years of safe harbor. And then when they pull the phase 2, it would extend by 1 year. So depending on that timeline, it might give us some more
Thank you.
time in safe harbor.
Great.
I don't know if there's any other questions around the staff report, but we gave an update to the select board last month, and I'll be presenting to the planning commission next week for their meeting on update. And I was also the speaker at the CPC annual forum to give them an update on our housing efforts. So the summer has been a tour of housing to let everybody know what we've been up to. So it's been great to get the word out.
Awesome. Chantal has a question.
Yes, question followed by a comment. Chrissy, how long have you been with the town in this role?
About 18 months.
Okay. I just want to point out how much you've been able to accomplish in 18 months and remind everyone that you took maternity leave in the midst of all of that. So there are a few months there where you weren't really with us, but we know you were with us, and how much you and your team have been able to accomplish. I thank you guys for all of the hard work that you've put in. I know that we often as the trust members get credit, but I hope everybody knows that you guys are the ones really doing the work here. So thank you very much. And I hope you guys all take a moment to celebrate.
Thank you, Shanta.
Agreed, 100%. Anything else in here you want to share at the moment?
No, if there's any other questions, happy to answer, or
Penny?
Yeah, I just think we should mention September 30th, to block out that time because it'll be here before we know it.
yes, thank you for the reminder, Penny. So I sent an email to all the trust members. We'll be having a joint session between the select board, the planning board, the Board of Health, and the Affordable Housing Trust on September 30th from 4 to 6. We are trying to find a location. This will be all in person. We're trying to find a location where we can also record it and have that technology for the public to be able to view later. So location to be determined.
Have you thought of the Dreamland studio room?
We didn't try that. We've been trying a couple of the inns, but we'll try that next.
Or you could, the new performance center too.
Okay. But we've engaged Judy Barrett to facilitate that session. And we just think it's a great kickoff as we're about to start our housing production plan for 2026. And that's in the staff update. We just received bids back yesterday to select a vendor. And the select board will be doing their strategic planning in October, and the planning board is finalizing their master plans. We thought it was a really good time to talk about housing and how all of the boards can, work together for a common goal. Thank you for that reminder.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a long way from the trailer 6 feet fairground. That's where we are now. Assuming no other board comments? Seeing none, close that other business. We have a meeting scheduled for September 9th and the 23rd.
So my only question is, do we like the hybrid? We wanna, Penny's saying no. There was a request to try it out, so we tried it out.
I'll do what the majority want. I wish more people were here in person, right?
I think we try the hybrid again through September.
Yeah.
And just as people's schedules, because it's hard to get here, not to get here. I don't think, like Forrest can't get here during a school day, so it's hard. But maybe back during the winter as people are moving and traveling. I don't know.
We'll keep it hybrid, pending, the spaces available. We will work on that.
And then, with that, I'll look for a motion for executive session. Oh, wait, sorry, Forrest, go ahead.
Sorry, Brian. I was just gonna say there is a possibility that I can talk to Amy, the head of school at Nantucket New School, to see if I can actually leave campus to attend the meeting, then return to campus once the meeting's over. So that is a possibility.
Okay, great. Love that. Okay, so we'll close other business and look for a motion for executive session. Does anybody want to make the motion?
I'll try.
Yeah, you're good at it. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know, Brooke's better. Anyway, I make a motion that.
She's
we
not in mic.
Adjourn this regular meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust, not to return to this meeting for the purpose of going into executive session to discuss the exchange of real property. What am I forgetting? It might compromise our negotiating position.
Perfect. Great.
A second.
Second from Mary, vote by roll call. Brooke Moore,
Aye.
Horace Bell,
Aye.
Chantal Murphy.
Aye.
Penny Dye, Mary Mack,
Aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye. Great. Thanks, everybody.